Hey, I always love these. It totally feels Brady Bunchy when we start. Gotta
Brady
love it.
Bunch.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for another multi-stream. Thomas is doing a good one. Didn't the Partridge Families do something like this too?
Something like that. I think I was off. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. Happy Days. Happy Days. That's what it was, I think, where my mind went. So welcome, everybody, for another multi-stream. We've got another really fun group with us today. We've got Steven, we've got Thomas, Pablo, Eric, Michael, and Nacho. So
Hi.
Thank you guys for joining me and joining us on this day.
Hello.
So we're going to be doing again, for those that didn't maybe see the last one, what we're going to be doing here is we're all going to be in here at the same time, as you can see, be able to talk to each other. I'll be monitoring the chat. So if there's questions that pop up that any of you would like to throw to the artists, I will do my best to fit them in within the time that we're doing this and fire away the questions. We'll be bouncing around from screen to screen with them all. And we're going to do a little holiday theme. Well, since the last day of November. Can't believe that already.
It's freaky.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre.
So I'm excited too. We got a couple of guys too with that are known for jewelry as well, amongst other things too, with Nacho and Tomas. And now Eric also been doing a lot of jewelry stuff with Tomas as well. And then you got Pablo and Michael and Steven. I'm sure everybody knows them with their streamers as well on our channel and doing a lot of different stuff across the gambit, whether it be gaming, concepting. So you all are going to see a lot of different stuff here, I think, in this stream, which will be fun. So guys, thank you for coming in and joining me.
Always a joy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for inviting us.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll just start jumping around to the screens. And then again, too, if there's anything any of you want to share too, and just let me know, and I will jump to your screen if you want to show a tip or a trick or something based upon a conversation that we're having. That's what this is also all about, is us just having a casual conversation with each other, and it leads to a lot of stuff like that too, and a lot of other conversations as well. So I'm just going to start by at least starting to show some screens. So Steven, I'm going to start with you since you're doing a little bit of a continuation from the last multi-stream last week.
Yeah.
Right on.
I guess just to be able to put this up in the corner, maybe I'll screenshot this. This is the little guy, the little Santa Claus I did last stream. And I'm just trying to recycle him, turn him into Mrs. Claus. So
It's the beauty.
Recycler.
The beauty of digital, right? Being able to just reuse a model mesh or anything like
absolutely.
Oh, it's the true beauty.
that. It is. Especially that undo. So many
Yeah.
things I'd like to be able to undo.
Undo is magic.
Yeah. All right. So you're doing your goal is probably to make a scene then, in essence. Santa Claus, Miss Claus.
Yeah, I'm thinking about having her like kind of standing up, kind of behind him, like looking over his shoulder, oh good, he's enjoying the cookies, you know?
Yeah. She made him the cookies.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun little thing to print and put on your front porch or something like that. There you go.
Yeah.
Especially if you had a big enough printer.
Oh, I'd print pieces though, right? How big would you go?
Oh gosh, if I were printing it for myself, probably not very big.
No?
3 feet. Yard gnome.
Yeah. 3 feet would be pretty big size.
That's what I said. If you had a big enough printer for your yard gnome.
If I had a big enough yard for the gnome.
Oh, that's a much better point.
Printer in pieces.
This is LA after all, Thomas. I know you're used to Washington State and stuff like that, but
I know. I'm no longer on the homestead. I have to say, leaving 10 acres or 7, it's 8.2 acres, whatever, with a hot tub and a huge backyard and nobody around is heaven. And I'm in a room that literally you can't, my bed, I have a inflatable mattress right now, so it's standing up. So you can't open the door on that side if the bed's down. Yeah, at least oddly in LA, I'll be gaining much more space.
I'm just going to start
That's
bouncing
crazy.
around so everyone can see
Alright.
where you guys are all starting. So I'm
Well,
switching to Thomas's now.
Because I was not prepared this morning, I went ahead and took one of my the earring that I was working on, which was like a little alien-y Gaboury earring, and I've now turned it into Giger Santa from the side. And it has a heart in the middle now. So we've come once again reusing digital assets that we had around to make lovely Christmas ornaments for those on the darker side.
Well, I saw a tree that someone did actually recently, like a Halloween tree, Christmas tree, to keep Halloween going for them.
I had a
did
Halloween
what?
Christmas tree for years.
Did you? Oh, you
I
have?
mean, it stayed up for years.
Oh.
It was one of the black fake ones.
Yeah.
And then we got silver ornaments and black ornaments, and we took Sharpies and drew like, Day of the Dead stick figure scenes
Nice.
on all of them. And they were doing
Yeah.
And it was just such a nice ambient light because it was only white. It cast these beautiful shadows everywhere. And yeah, that was really entertaining. Actually, that was the beginning of the rocking chair and those lamps that I did because the projections through them with the LEDs are so cool.
Yeah. Well, there's people probably even do movie marathons for Christmas, and the Aliens might be one of them. Eric, do you still do you do on New Year's Eve, you do what?
My wife and I do Lord of the Rings extended editions.
Yeah, the extended editions.
A whole thing. It takes like 14 or 15 hours. My wife makes up a big thing of macaroni and cheese, and we drink a lot and eat a lot and try and stay awake. We've been doing it like 15 years now. I think since before Return of the King came out, we started doing it.
You do it on New Year's Eve though, right? Or New Year's Day, right?
We do it on New Year's Day, and then
Yeah.
we alternate. Some years we do The Hobbit, some years we do Lord of the Rings. This is the Lord of the Rings year, though.
So, have you seen the Lord of the Rings cookbook?
No.
They have a cookbook out now, and yeah, and it's like meals that are good for 11sies and meals that are good for lunch 3, and it's hysterical. I think you need to cook things out of the Lord of the Rings cookbook.
Yes. Yeah, we're both vegetarians, so that's gonna be a lot of tofu. Raw tofu off the bone, man.
Well, there was lots of berries and nuts and grains and stuff because let's face it, hobbits aren't known for their massive meat hunting.
But these are the big pigs they have in the farms. They're not hunters; they're farmers, man.
They're not big meat hunters. I'm passing off this story, man. You got to be on my side here.
All right, let me crack open the Cimmerillion and we'll check that out.
We're looking at Nacho's screen now for those looking at Nacho screen.
Yeah. So today, I decided to try to find a traditional figure, which here is most common traditional than Santa Claus here in Spain are the 3 wise men who brings gifts to the people. So very traditional is put it on a kind of diorama or what we call Belén, where we put all of the figures, a composition. But I think it's very traditional here in Spain and in Italy. I don't know, maybe in Greece or in France. But I try to start. This is what I was starting doing this morning, trying to block out the main shapes, because what I have in mind is to sculpt this kind of figure, but with I'm gonna work on the volumes to give it a more look like more Art Deco looking finishing.
Mm-hmm.
So with clean lines or clean shapes, and so this time completely different stuff than the normal stuff that I do about jewelry. So I decided to try to find a good traditional theme for sculpting, because there are a big tradition of sculpting this kind of figures. There are very good sculptors who makes this kind of stuff, and they made it by hand, mostly in clay, and they reproduce it maybe in porcelain or something. And then I'm gonna try to make a mix between the traditional looking that you can find here with this kind of figures, mix it with the style of big volumes, planes, this kind of thing that
Yeah.
you can find of
That'd be
many
cool. Yeah.
article styles. So I started with the dog. So
Okay.
all the time that I need to make an animal, or most of the time, maybe I can say 90% of the time, I started always with the same dog. So what I do is I start chopping the dog and start cutting the head, the legs, and start working with Dynamesh till getting the.
Oh, okay. So you can
shapes
do that for like your
that.
cats. You did like a puma, right? And then a couple other cats. You start with the dog model.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
maybe yes, but for at least maybe not for the head, because when you try to sculpt a feline or a lion or something from the dog, maybe you're gonna need to spend more time than necessary. But you have the body, you have the legs. Maybe the main physical aspect of the animal, you can use the dog as well. But this is what I get. This is you can see here. This is it's still the same. The legs of the dog. This is the body itself of the dog. At this point, I use a lot Sculptus Pro, because I just close here the holes, and I love to work with the Sculptus Pro when you are sketching forms, because you are able to work very fast. And also what you can do, for example, here on the toes, this is quite. You can start bringing this shape, and with the Sculptus Pro, you can start blending things, or using this kind of things to come from a completely shape and try to make that completely different one, just with this. So you can get very complex shapes, very radical changes with the Sculptus Pro. So with this point, I started working on the animal until what I am now. This is the animal itself. And now I'm gonna try to work on this kind of lines, clean lines on clean shapes. What I love about the Art Deco style sculptures, and till here. So I still be thinking about how I gonna finish these elements of the king, because maybe for a trick, maybe I can tell you how I make the cape, this kind of folds.
Yeah.
Because looks tricky, because when you have to sculpt from scratch, this kind of shapes can be very complicated. What I do is I start from, I'm gonna use this. I always start with the clay build-up. I'm sorry, with the clay cubes snap brush. For example, you can start painting this kind of shape.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it a little bit smaller, like this. I'm gonna split them, split it from the base. This is what I get. I'm gonna apply some polishing. I think I am working with the dynamic subdivision. I'm gonna turn it off. I'm not going to use the Sculptus Pro now, and I'm going to use with this view, group front, polygroups, group front. So now you have the mesh split it in two different polygroups. I select the top part, and I apply an edge loop on the border with the crease option. Turn it on like this. Let's apply some polishing, and now I can mask this portion, and I can start.
Yeah, nice.
Making this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now you can, for example, you can squeeze it, or maybe you can put it like this to try to play. I think I already using a kind of surface noise. I'm going to turn it off like this. So you can start making your base mesh with this kind of complicated shapes for capes or for drapery very easily with this method. Of course, from this point, it's going to be necessary to remesh it to be able to start sculpting. And also, I'm going to try it if it's going to make a series measure now. Because I love the new feature of for the gizmo. Maybe I'm going to subdivide first before. I love the new feature, the fall off of
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
you
great.
put a
Yeah,
bunch
well,
of stuff together for that. Yeah, it looked great.
yeah, I think that everyone loves this new feature because allows you to make the forms very fast. For example, like this. I already have this a more regular mesh, but you can do, for example, playing with the focal shift. You can start bending things like this, or making things like this, or changing the shape here and there, just changing the value. This is very, very fast. That's very intuitive as well
Yeah, follows rad.
to
Yeah,
start
nice.
making things like this. This
I would go as far to
becomes-
say that that's my favorite feature of the new version.
Oh yeah, you too? Yeah, you love it?
I think, yeah, I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
It's
yeah,
like
this
having
is
a
the-
localized deformer, right?
Yeah, I prefer to work this with this instead of the deformers that you have inside of
Yeah.
the gamble. I
Yeah.
think this is more, you have more freedom, because with the deformer you just need to be worried about where are the points to be able to adjust it, and with this, just changing the position of the gizmo, you're going to be able to create this kind of things very, very easy.
Yes, it even looks a little bit like hair right now too.
Yeah, for hair, it's going to be very, very useful as well.
Yeah,
For
that's cool.
everything, all the stuff involved with curves, it's going to be very, very useful. I think so. And I love the curves. I love to sculpt with curves. So maybe probably like Pablo, maybe it's my favorite addition of the
Yeah,
new
it's
version.
awesome. Have you tried the same thing but using the gizmo, the transform cloud? So you have the dynamics as well as the soft form, the soft deformer happening at the same time. It's fantastic.
Mm. Mm-mm.
That's a great idea.
Using the deformer, this one.
Yeah,
Deformer,
Yeah,
you
so
can
the
get it.
gizmo, the
if
clock
you-
to transform.
Yeah,
the
if you
transform clock.
try the transform cloud, it has the same effect, but at the same time that
transform
you
clock.
change
Yeah,
things. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, what I think the thing that I like the most about it, because you can get very regular, very soft curves. So with a very easy way. This is the
Yeah, we'll say
Maybe,
before you came out with Z Modeler, back before you could generate your own shapes, I used Modo, and Modo has an entire fall off system that is really just fantastic. And I was missing some of those fall off features. It's lovely that they're coming in, because fall off's amazingly powerful. It's great.
yeah.
Sometimes the simplest thing is the most powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making this kind of stuff before with the transpose line, with the Alt key transport and
Yep.
Alt key works more or less the same, but maybe with a new feature, maybe you can work more fluidly. So just moving the gizmo and playing around with it, you are able to get faster shapes done with the transpose line. I think so. But I'm a transpose line fan, so I'm gonna still be working with it. I think so.
Nice. All right. I'm gonna keep going along. Thanks, Nacho. That was awesome. Some great tips. We're
Indeed.
looking at Michael Pavlovich's screen now.
Yeah,
Here,
I think
here comes the tips.
listening to everybody's cloth stuff in the soft transpose, I think I got a good character to try some of that out. I'm a little rusty, but I think Oogie Boogie Beansack character might be a good candidate for some of that soft transpose stuff.
You're the boogeyman, right?
Yeah. I tried to think of something Christmassy that I could start with a ZBrush primitive star, and that's cute.
It is, yeah. It's the stuff.
Literally rotated the star like 15 degrees and started.
That's fun. Yeah, that's a fun one though. It was a great film. Great spin on things, I think. Nightmare for good film.
I worked on that.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Rad.
What'd you do on it?
Sculpted a lot of little faces. Really. All the expressions and stuff. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, stop motion's no joke, man. All the work you have to put in, just hours of hours just to get like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's so meticulous.
It was one of the first films that they actually had. They had a voice recognition software that would tell you what, like a face was a vowel consonant combination, right? Let's say it had 25, 30 faces for different verbal things. And the script would go along and analyze what the words were built out of, and it would give you an exposure sheet for the faces. So it wasn't someone having to sit there anymore, and they jammed through it. It was pretty impressive. It was a really cool thing.
Oh, wow. Nice. I didn't know you worked on that film.
I didn't do a whole lot. It was coming in at the end sort of thing. I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but I stayed in San Francisco because they were going to reboot and do James and the Giant Peach
Oh, yeah.
3
That's another
years
cool one.
later. So needless to say, I left before that happened. They're like, yeah,
that
no,
one was
stick
good,
around.
though, too. The first one was really good. I enjoyed the first one.
Oh yeah, it's just I wasn't going to sit there and wait for the job to start. I had to go back to LA and actually get a job.
Right.
My friend Ian and I would hustle chess right outside of Britex Fabrics, and that's how we paid our rent for a while.
Pablo, you adjusting your camera?
Sorry.
Are you adjusting your camera? It looks like you're sculpting on your camera.
Yeah, no, this is the thing. I'm using the Mobile Studio Pro, the Wacom tablet, and the camera is right next to my right arm, and that's where I have all my UI elements. So every time that I pick like a subtool, I'm basically covering it. That's the issue.
I just keep seeing a little flash every now and then of the hand.
Yeah. I'm kind of like waving at the same time. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good. All right. Well, let's show what Eric's doing. Got Eric's screen on now.
So I decided to pick a different holiday because you all are so Eurocentric. I'm going with the Buddhist celebration of the Bodhi Day, which is on December 8th.
Oh, okay.
So it celebrates the day that the Buddha decided to sit under a tree and do nothing for a while until he got enlightened. So I'm also trying to do everything from scratch because I like a good challenge. I could fail miserably, but that's part of the fun. So I was looking around online for imagery that might be inspiring. I found these photos of this sculpture that's in, is this in Thailand? Seemed kind of appropriate. So I'm thinking about making like basically a strip. So it'd basically be the head. And then this strip right here would be covered in sort of the branches and the intertwined stuff, which is always fun to sculpt. And then I might decide to either use it as a source for, a bas relief and maybe turn it into a ring or something like that. I haven't quite decided yet. So right now I'm just blocking out the basic Buddha head. I'm trying not to get obsessed with this. I should probably move on to the rest of it now that I just have this as a placeholder. But it's one of those things that when you sculpt a face, you start getting sucked into it. So
yeah. And you started with what? You started from scratch. So would you start with a sphere?
Yeah, I started with a good old fashioned
old school sphere. Oh, yeah.
It's a star. It's a cube. It's probably because the reference I'm using is his head is kind of cubical. So I'm trying to resist doing like a perfectly anatomically correct head and something a bit more stylized. But then again, I want it to look good and not, dumb. So that's basically what I've done so far since we started this morning. It's just kind of blocking it. I think I might work on the background a bit though, because I'm getting obsessed.
Yeah, doing some, and then you're in Dynamesh mode.
No Dynamesh, man. I'm using. I'm using not even that. I'm doing old school. Tomas Wittelsbach method, which is to start with a cube, very simple, and then so I actually have subdivision, so I can go up and down.
Nice.
So it's not necessarily a topology that's. I'm going to be fighting the topology a little bit, but I can also subdivide the crap out of this thing. And if I decide to do sculptures, I'll do that a little bit later. We can say crap, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Christmas after all.
It doesn't really matter because you just did, so you're good.
I suppose that's true.
I can say no.
All right, well, let's see what Pablo's doing too now, so we can get at least everyone can see everyone's. Okie dokie.
All
Take
right.
a stab at what he's doing.
Yeah, I just went with the right color so that it's easy to pick it up. Let me just show you what I'm doing.
It's Cupid.
Just Cupid. That's Cupid. Did you say it's stupid?
No, it's
Cupid.
Cupid.
Cupid. Sorry.
Cupid.
Yeah, this is Cupid, the green Cupid. And I guess in terms of the things that I've been using, just the Gizmo 3D with the best update of ZBrush 2020 to the Gizmo with the soft. What is it? Is it like a soft deformer, or let's call it just the focal shift at a positive value? Just that deforms really nicely. And I've just been using this to block out things really, really easy. Like Nacho said, it's just fantastic to deform things on the fly. I still use things like the deformance. That's why I have this piece here. I thought that would be a good thing to show you guys as kind of like a combination of the two, the best of both worlds. So this bit right here, which is going to be maybe the lower lip of the Grinch. That's what I'm doing. I would just use something like the knife cut just to get a flatter version here. Just let's say cut something like that, and we get something really sharp for that. And then bring in the gizmo. And hang on. I'm also trying to get used to the new UI that I have. So it might take a while. So go to the gear icon, and I would use something like the bend arc or the bend curve. In this case, bend arc would be easier. For this type of thing that I want to maintain symmetry for as long as I can just do this to get kind of like the expression going and change the profile of that arc to something like that. And that's it. So that's we can also do something from the top. So I push it back a bit. Okay, to accept. And yeah, so this is kind of like the basis of that lip. And then I can just push that in, try to place it. And at this point, I can hold the Alt key, move to, let's say, on the side. And this is what I found like to be really useful, to be able to just hold Alt and reposition the gizmo, right click, and then just change the focal shift. I'll go with something, around 87, and then just pull that bit here and just give it a bit more of an expression like so. Or if I want to keep it symmetrical, I can also do the same thing with symmetry and just pull kind of like the corners, rotating it, scaling it from this point. I have to enable local symmetry, that sort of thing. But obviously, it's not just for the corner. So yeah, it's just one of the things that I found like really useful to block out characters. And of course, you can go with the move brush and any other brush that you find useful to tweak these type of things. But yeah, I found it like really, really helpful. And that's basically how I tweak those things. So if I want to increase like the prominence of the cheeks, I can just bring in the gizmo, place it around there, and make sure, I have something like 87, and then just push that forward or like so, and then just edit things very quickly. And I know these type of things can be done with the move brush, but I just, I think it's very cool to have it. So that's kind of like my tip. And another thing that I found like cool with the eyes, for instance, and that's the stager feature. And so if you go to the array mesh, I just set up this as an array mesh. I can go into solo mode and show you. So this actually, if I turn this off, it's actually one single mesh for the eye, and the array mesh gives me the duplicate. So it's not an exact duplicate as of yet, but I have already set the home stage and the target stage. So the target stage is where the things are at the moment, where the eyes are. If I switch to the home stage, go to solo, this is actually sitting right in the middle of the world. I don't have this here, so. Sorry. Where are we? I lost
What do you
my
want? Floor? The floor's in
floor,
draw.
yeah. Oh, draw.
Floor's in draw.
That's right. Sorry.
Shift P.
Yeah, but I don't have the key, the keyword. So, so this is right in the center of the world. So at this point with the home stage, I can enable radial symmetry. Let's say go with the standard brush and maybe enable radial symmetry on the Z-axis, Y-axis. There we go. Turn off ZAD and RGB on. Yeah, and then just paint it like so. And you're painting both eyes at the same time with radial symmetry, which is pretty cool. and then go back and click on switch, and then you have it there, which I think is a really nice way of working. And in this case, I have local symmetry enabled, so it kind of like defeats the purpose. I can do the same thing from this point, but again, this is a very simple example, but you could use the same thing in other things that are probably more appropriate. So yeah, I'm doing the Grinch for now.
I worked on that movie too.
Did you? Which one? The Jim Carrey one?
Jim Carrey, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I liked it.
That was a good one. Well, there's the more recent one, right? From what, a couple of years ago? The
By Illumination, yeah.
Yeah.
The animation one.
Oh, well, I always watch the original. Like, that's on my list every year. I always watch that original.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to.
How do you feel about A Christmas Story, Paul?
A Christmas Story? Every year. I love some Christmas Story.
You
But
put
if
me
I
on
had
out
to
with that.
pick, mine probably number one would be Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's.
I will
What?
say I went to a party at Paul's house many years ago, and he was dressed up as one of the helpers from the department store that pushed down our hero down the slide. That was a great
Nice.
costume, man. It worked well on you. You did the shaking the head with the hat moving forward and hitting you in the face. That was well done.
Yep. And then the wife was the lamp.
Yeah, that's right.
She was the
Wow.
lamp. If you don't know, I love me some Christmas. Okay, I love Christmas. My whole house can be seen probably from space with the lights I have out the front. I am Clark Griswolding it like no one's business.
So having a child actually was one of the greatest things in the world for you.
Oh yeah, she's totally hooked. Like she wanted to put up lights in like the first week of November, like right after Halloween. Okay, Halloween's done. Let's put up lights. I'm like, it's only November. I'm like, I'm not going that early.
Yeah, my Halloween Christmas tree stayed up for like 3.5 years.
Really? You had
I never took it down. It was just such a great lamp.
Yeah, that's basically how goth rock came about. People just never put away their Halloween decorations. They just, we'll just turn it into a light.
That's close enough.
Yeah, well, people chattering that day, still missing Halloween. Yeah. So
What happened there? Oh, you blew out your. Oh,
I have no idea.
Is it
It was
because
I don't know. I just hit undo and then redo, and then it was just fine. But that was bizarre. That was something else.
I love. There are times when I do things and I'm like, oh my God, that's the greatest thing in the world. How can I ever do that again? It never works. It never comes back. I'm like, oh. It's like, okay, the lightning has to strike the neighbor's house and then it's going to blow. Now I got it.
Then it has to ricochet off at the satellite dish just right, hit the Thanksgiving turkey, and then
and it's there. I've got it.
And then we transport back in time to the age of the
age of the dinosaurs. Dinosaurs ruled the world. Sorry.
Kind of makes me think of We're Back.
You got someone in the chat saying they did a full-on decoration on their house for Halloween for his birthday. Him and a buddy were in the SFX and won a best Halloween house in Hillsborough County for 2 years in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought about doing something like that, but our Halloween's gotten so lame in our neighborhood. I wanted to do like a spooky haunted coral reef and stuff like that in our front yard and have like, little divers poking out, skeletons,
that'd be cool.
Jellyfish. But then I realized I didn't want to spend the money or take the time. So here we are.
There's so many reasons I love you, Eric.
I'm lazy. It's the laziness that sold me on my wife too.
So every night you're like, I'm kind of comfortable on the couch. It's a great idea, but no.
It's like when Rick says,
we're looking at Steven, by the way.
Comedian, I write a joke. I think of a joke and I write it down.
Did you wait? How long have you been in California, Eric?
Since 2005.
Okay, then I think that was around. Did you ever make it with the Bob Burns houses when he had the Halloween things?
No. I used to do the parade on Santa Monica Boulevard. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Because what you're describing makes me think of what Bob Burns used to do. Him and Kathy used to do to their house. But they would have like the actual movie sets. Like they had the real movie set from Aliens, and they would go all out. It'd be crazy. I heard. I've only heard. I've never been to it, but
Underachievers. What the hell?
But I heard it was crazy. A line down the street. You had to hire security for it at some point because it got so crazy.
Probably.
There's a neighborhood in Seattle down by the coast, and I don't understand how they don't get billed for electricity fines against humanity, because you literally can see it glowing over the hill. It's crazy. It is probably 10 or 15 homes, and one in particular. And I've been all over the country and seen a lot of Christmas lights. Just for sheer quantity, I've never seen anything like it. It's mind-bending. They get the trees and the bushes, and they do the curbs in yellow, and like if there's a no parking zone, they do it in red. I mean, it's just
gravy.
It's insanity. It's really cool.
There's a neighborhood out here called Candy Cane Lane that does it. Like, and it's usually like 60 houses. It's like 4 streets, and every house has lights on those 4 streets. It's crazy. And they shut the streets down now. So because there's just so many people going to it, walking the streets, looking at the lights. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you got to shut the streets down, those streetwalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think one of the neighborhoods near our neighborhood started going like way overboard, and so everybody just skips us and goes straight to them. We're such losers, man. First year I lived in Eagle Rock, we had a huge crowd of kids. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah. COVID's changed a couple things, I think, recently.
Yeah, this year for every child there was like 7 adults crowded around them. It was really weird.
Everybody needed a way out, man. They were like, all right, trick-or-treating.
Yeah, that's true.
It's funny here, the solution was really... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just letting the viewers know that we're looking at your screen.
Here the solution was, there's like a blocked off area of restaurants and stuff. Here we go. Christmas hat. Alien loving. Holly, have a merry. Oh! Here the solution was really go to the area where all the restaurants are and hit the restaurants. We didn't see, I don't think we had one, I left earlier, but I don't think we had one kid come to the house. And we're in a neighborhood with kids. They all went to the little shopping district that is 8 blocks away. But yeah, no one did home to home trick-or-treating here.
Yeah, that's not Jingle Bells you're hearing. That's Thomas you're hearing.
See, I'm in the season, right?
Yeah.
Everyone loves it because they can. My cat bells is what everyone calls. They're like they can hear me coming. I'm not a ninja anymore, and it's great. I get them all the time because I just take my earrings out and I sneak up behind them like ah. And they're like ah. It's like yeah. See, don't say I can't be a ninja anymore.
Right, we would be able to hear you coming.
Yes, it's not very sneaky, really at all.
All right. So I'll just keep cycling through all you guys and coming through. By all means, feel free if you guys had any tips that come up in the conversation, let me know, and then we'll switch to you as well. I'll switch back to Nacho and see how his stylized 3 wise men.
Yeah, I'm still working on the plane. Just when I can say it, I'm a lover of the acute curve mode when I'm sculpting with the move brush. When for many different things, for example, for this, just try to start breaking the curves into segments, start giving it more personality, or I don't know, maybe you can be playing around with this feature and getting completely new shapes, just moving points like this, so the new shapes will appear. So once you are happy with the plane, you can work with the edge polish, and you can. And now I work on with a combination of Sculptris Pro and without the Sculptris Pro, because when I work with the edge polish, I turn it off. When I need more geometry, I turn it on. Add more. turn it off, and I follow refining the shapes. Only a good tip that I have when I don't want to still merge everything together into one single mesh using Dynamesh or Boolean or making the Boolean, what I do is grabbing the clay buildup without the alpha. I remove the alpha and I start adding a kind of glue or soft clay in the borders of each subtool, and I can see how they blend together with the sculpted screw.
If you do you know Sakaki Kaoru's brushes? I use them all the time.
Yeah,
he's one of the
me
viewers.
too.
His clay fill is really good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Clay
has a
fill,
clay.
this one. But I prefer this instead of this one because this one, you can see this adds a bit of volume to the surface. I prefer to merge things together with the clay build-up. It's like because I came from the traditional way of sculpting miniatures with this kind of clay or putty clay. I don't know. This is a kind of
Sculpty.
Sculpty.
no, not super sculpty. It's with maybe it's more for scale models. The brand was Tamiya. It's a Japanese brand.
Yeah.
And it was a gray clay that you can apply with I don't know how to say in English, with acetone or with the liquid.
Yeah.
You kind of make it liquid to try. So this is the feeling that I have when I'm doing this, to try to fill the gaps and to see how they work. But the subtools, the different meshes are still there. I can isolate if I want, but the finishing that I have is there. Looks like even like it had been dynameshed.
Yeah. Did you do wax too? Did you do a lot of wax too, sculpting?
Not yet. No, I never used the wax for sculpting, and I know that there is a very huge traditional way of sculpting with wax when we talk about jewelry. But I would love to learn someday.
That's how I learned to sculpt jewelry with wax.
Yeah, but the way of working is completely different. As far as I know, I don't have any experience about it. But I think you just start the way that you have to add material and remove material is completely different than working with flexible clay or another kind of kind of material.
Yeah.
Thomas, they're asking about the brushes you mentioned. Do you have a way that
there's a gum? It's funny. I don't. My Stream Deck is not hooked up, so I don't have all the things. If you just if you look up Sakaki Kaoru and then Gumroad, he created or is it his art station that it's tied to? Hold on, let me see. I'll see if I can find the link real quick.
Or art station.
Yeah, I think that's what I was gonna say. I think he's.
If you want to find it and then put it in our private chat, then I can just copy and paste it if you find it.
I can do that.
And then give it to them. Oh, I think someone already found it. Already found it.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm really slow at this one.
Let's see. Here, let me put it in our private chat. You tell me if this is the one you were talking about, Thomas.
Okay, let's see.
There you go. This is what someone just put in chat. I'm assuming this is it.
Yeah, it's pack. This is pack version 1. There's a pack version 2. I'm pretty sure. Let's see.
Yeah, it's for version. He made that for 4R8.
There is a version 2.
Yeah.
What's that, Steven?
There is a version 2.
Yeah.
However, there is one that's labeled for 2021.6, which might be, I assume, the newest one. The version 2 that I'm seeing is from 2019.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So do you see the 2020? Yeah, so he updated version 1, I think, is what it's looking like.
I haven't had any problems.
Someone just put version 2. Yeah, someone just put it in the chat as well.
I haven't had any problems using his brushes with the latest versions, though.
No, you're not going to. The brushes will carry over. Like 4R8 was like 6 years ago, I think. Now I don't even know now.
Yeah, that's mind bending. I don't.
Something like, maybe.
That was 2017, 2018, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 20. Let's see. We're in 2021, which is over. So we do. Yeah, I would say maybe 5 years ago.
2021 was over before it began.
Yeah.
I want my money back.
Right?
I have a life blimp with the time. I never know now. When people ask me, "Wait, when did you?" I'm like, "Man, the COVID blimp is really throwing me off." Wait, I didn't leave my house.
We
for
blipped.
2 years. Yeah, I'm like, it's like we lived the Avengers. We really did.
It does astound me watching those movies, like how relevant they are, because obviously the blip happened long before COVID came on the scene, but it is the perfect allegory, man. It's like just 5 years missing from your life, where people just suddenly gone. It's freaky.
Yeah.
I hope it's not that long.
No.
I don't have high hopes it's going to be real soon.
Yeah, I think there are a few things that need to change in order for it to get better quicker.
It's looking really cool, Nacho. We'll definitely come back. Keep coming through. I'm gonna.
Okay.
Michael's up now. Mr. Pavlovich.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got them all posed out, and I'm gonna start playing with a little bit of the claw stuff. He might be a little more Pixar mom than I remember. I don't have great reference, but I think that's about his shape there.
Yeah.
And
Got him.
let's see here. So yeah, we were talking about earlier was the whole focal shift thing. So by default it's set to 100 and negative 100. It'll grab everything. But if we ease this off a little bit, it'll start having a little bit of that bendy fall off thing. And like Pablo was saying, maybe go in here with the simulation iterations. You can really start doing some cool stuff with without even having to go into the bend deformers. But man, he just has built-in cloth. Look at that burlap sack, instant.
Nice.
Wow, look at that.
Done.
Done and done.
Easy.
What you got, Pixar?
That's a good one.
Yeah. I'm gonna start breaking them up, and I'm gonna fill them full of bugs. Do some nano mesh bugs, I think. And I think he also has he goes into like a blacklight version too, which might be kind of fun to do.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how ambitious I am. I just got back from London. I went to London, jet lagged as hell, and then came back, and 9 days later, and I'm still jet lagged. So
London was
You've been back for 9 days, and you're still feeling the time change.
no, I was there for 9 days. I just got back.
Oh,
So
okay.
I went there and I was jet lagged the whole time, and I'm like, great. And then I came back, and now I'm jet lagged still. So
if you have issues with the jet lag, I recommend going to South America from Australia and then go back and miss like 3 days. You're jet lag for a month
on an airplane.
I just came actually. I arrived 2 days here in Costa Rica, and 36 hours was the flight.
Man.
Counting
36?
the stops.
Oh my God.
36, yeah, because I went from Melbourne to Sydney, had to wait there, then went to San Francisco, 13 hours that is, crossing the ocean, and then to Denver, and then from Denver to Costa Rica, 36 altogether. So that's a bit of a jet lag for you.
But isn't this like the first time you've been able to get out of Australia though, right? Because they've been very strict, right?
Yeah, I had 2 days. I mean, in the news they said it was about 270 days altogether since COVID started that we've been locked out in lockdown. So as soon as they said, I think it was the 2nd of November, they announced that they're going to open the borders or international borders. I bought a ticket. I thought, yeah, let's do it. So that's it.
Get out of Australia for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that and China is probably my longest flights. From here to Australia or here to China.
It's crazy.
China's a long flight. Going to Thailand, they send you to Seoul first and then down. And my business partners hate me because I put on my silencing headphones and I close my eyes, and then I wake up for dinner and I put my headphones back in and I close my eyes. I can sleep through anything. It's just these are great. It's just it's a sleep catch up for Bangkok, right? It's like, yeah. Everybody's like, we're not doing anything. I'm like, no, let's go. They're like, you're a jerk. Yeah. Nice. Books on tape, man. It's the cure of all ills.
Love the book on tape.
Well, I couldn't live without them.
Yep. I'll switch to Eric now. We'll keep going through and keep doing updates to see where everyone's at. So we're at Eric's screen now.
Playing with tree limbs and that kind of stuff, sort of. That's sort of the idea, what I'm going for.
Yep.
So
you started with a sphere for the branches, or what?
For this one, I was, you've had a lot of updates, Paul. So sometimes I had to go back and practice something from 2 versions ago.
Yeah.
So I've been playing with, what is it? It's in the new curve extrusion brushes.
Oh, yeah.
To do just playing around. Because, I mean, that's the beauty of ZBrush. You could just play with different things and you get different results each time. So where am I? What am I thinking?
Curve
Alpha? I think it was using Curve Alpha.
You're right by it. You keep going by.
Curve Alpha is the one for me.
Hold on, I need to make right there. You were just by it.
Nudge. Curve
Down.
Alpha. There we go. Thank you. So let's see, just playing with like drawing this.
Yeah, the curve extruder has become some of my favorite brushes now.
Yeah, it's great
I
for
find
this.
myself using those a lot.
And then Dynamesh it, throw on some Sculptors Pro, play with some of these other, some of the other curving extrusion brushes. What was it? Extrude. Yeah, like this stuff, extrude profile with Sculptors put on is a lot of fun. But I'm just going in here to, let me see, curve, modifiers, size, and then, playing with the graph a little bit. And the other cool thing is like, I mean, I'm kind of dynameshing these together, but it is still fun to play with different alphas just to see what kind of different effects you can get.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I mean, some of this is sort of coming through, but I kind of smooshed it together with Dynamesh, but that's the fun.
I have to admit, though, you were like the bane of the educator and the boon of the educator, because it's like, I've had this 2 videos I've had to make for a while now, and then it went through the first, and all the things like the reliefs and some of that. I'm like, oh, we can use that. The knife, had to wait for knife to make the video, and then it's just, oh, I forgot about that. Now I'm sitting. I can never get anything done because I'm just discovering new things every time. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this was a big batch of releases over the last few months.
Well, yeah, we released for just ZBrush 3 versions of ZBrush in the calendar year of 2021. And if you want to throw in December last year, that's 4 versions in 12 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You need to switch to decaf, I think. That might be the answer. What's going on over there, man?
It's like,
listen, everyone knows, probably most people here know that I don't touch that caffeine stuff. Can you imagine me on caffeine? Come on, that's a horrible decision.
Actually, I can, honestly, very clearly.
Probably bouncing off the walls. I don't think that'd be a good thing for me to have caffeine. Yeah,
might be fun to watch for a little bit, though.
That's true. My own character, for sure. Yeah, it's a good way.
We are going to walk to get poutine, or I can't even remember the name of the. What are the French fries?
The French fries? You mean poutine?
Yeah, that one. When we walked through, you were like, it's right around the corner. 3 miles later.
Oh man, I miss a good poutine or Putin, whatever way you want to pronounce it in Canada.
Where are you from originally in the Canada?
Like Niagara Falls, Fort Erie area is mostly where I grew up. But
because I grew up in Montreal for part of my life. It's a great city. Yep.
Yeah. I love they've got some good poutine.
Yeah.
Because it's a French thing, right? Isn't it? It's pretty much a French thing. It's delicious. You get some good one with that good gravy and the good cured cheese. That is delicious. Last time I was in Montreal, I think I had it 3 or 4 times.
I believe that. You have a real passion for it.
I'm not kidding. I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this. It's the same thing when I travel. I like to take advantage of the local food wherever I go.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood traveling and then eating at, the restaurants you ate at home. I don't get that one. Even though in Thailand you can get the pies, the apple pie, cherry pie. They made a sweet corn pie, which was actually pretty magnificent. So it was just like cream corn in that pie crust, but it was, I don't know, it was like sweet and it had a little bit of spice to it. It was really good. I was like, okay, fine. I'll roll with that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Can always get a fruit pie.
Fruit pie. We're back to, I'm just switching to the screens. We're at Pablo's screen now. The Grinch.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm just trying to rush it a little bit because, as I mentioned, I might have to jump off soon from the stream. So I'm trying to get something going with polypaint. So kind of like cheating a bit of the forms just with a bit of polypaint.
Do you usually bring polypaint in early for you, or?
Yeah, but like it's a very, very rough polypaint just to establish kind of like the palette and have a rough idea. But honestly, the polypaint, to be able to see the polypaint, I have to switch to skin shade 4, and I prefer to just use the madcap grade or the basic material to really check the forms and say like, now I can see it's a little bit bumpy here and all of that. So I prefer to just switch to this mode to sculpt, and when I'm ready to move into the texturing, I just enable back the polypaint. But I do bring in some basic colors to establish a palette like this early on. But yeah, that's about it. I don't go into too many details. So I'm just gonna.
I have to admit, I have to take your non-photorealistic rendering class one day because you produce just some of the most lovely Mobius-y graphical. They're just gorgeous. Truly
Thank
beautiful.
You, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. Oh my god.
Yeah, the comic style render thing. Actually, Michael did a really good rendition of the, because I released like an ebook, right? And then he took it and did a series of videos going through that ebook. And that's a pretty cool one. If you don't want to read the ebook, which is free download, you can also watch those videos, right?
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot I did that. I've been riding your coattails for so long. Let me find that playlist. There it is.
All right.
Yeah.
Michael's, that's right. I did do that.
Yeah, I took his PDF and I'm like, well, this is easy content. Hey, Pablo, can I do a video series on your work? He's like, sure. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's
Right.
good. Like, I did a post in the ZBrush Guides website as well about that, so people can download the PDF, but you can also go through the content. So it's like the same thing, but different venues of consuming the content. And some people might like the PDF. Some people prefer like short, snappy videos with the Pavlovich, extra tips that he throws in there and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do it for years. It's been out a few years, hasn't it? I just remember seeing it and just being like, oh man, that is, because Mobius was one of my heroes as a kid. And I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
man.
It's fantastic. Do you mean the course itself?
Well, the book, the pamphlet's been out there for a while, has it not?
Yeah. That's one of the. I think I did it in 4R8, 4R7, I think.
7,
something
I
like
think,
that.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Oh, it's just so
Still
nice.
relevant though, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, you want to talk about just like a content generator. Like if you're producing products, how nice is it? You can take a picture or, take a render of your model, or not even a render, you just futz with a little, and then you can turn it around. And like if you're generating t-shirts, you have a character, you can spin it around, you can change. I mean, you can create just content like forever and a day. It's awesome.
Well, there's even a lot of that going on now, right? They're using 3D to create, packaging and backpacks and stuff like that for kids, and all. I see a lot of that happening more and more and more.
I work with a couple tattoo artists that, they'll do a sketch and they're like, hey, can you make this? I need it at a weird angle and twisted, and it's hard for me to get all these geometric patterns into a forced perspective and bending. That's hard to figure out. Well, I can take that pattern, literally just alpha it onto a surface, twist it around, bend it, and push it. And, they can then print that out literally as the applique for the tattoo. So I've been doing a lot of work with a couple of friends of mine who are tattooists that way.
Nice. Yeah, stencil.
Yeah, you know what's cool as well? Like with the Keyshot bridge, if you have one of those materials that I created in that ebook, like the comic material, you can send that to Keyshot and render in Keyshot with, the Keyshot camera or other materials like glowing beads and things like that, but retain the madcap from ZBrush that is basically that material. So you can do like comic style with Keyshot stuff, and it's really, really cool.
I have to look at your materials again. I'm pretty sure I still have them in there. I change things around so much. It's a nightmare, actually.
Sure enough. Are you still looking at my screen or not?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. So I was just going to show something quickly that I think might be useful. So I just use the plugin, the ambient occlusion, the ray tracing ambient occlusion, compute that, invert that mask. I hit it, and then I'm going to do a ridiculous color just so you can see what that does. Because I've been using this workflow for almost everything that I do with Polypaint now, because I will be able to target just the occluded areas just to darken them a little bit. Obviously, this is ridiculous, but you know what I mean? I can just take like a darker green color in this case, and I can target those areas. And it's just a very easy way to get a little bit of depth to the model. So I'll just do that very quickly.
How did you get there again?
The Z plugin, you can go to ambient occlusion. And correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but that was introduced in the 2021, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
I want to say 0.5, if I remember right.
Yeah, so that's this being one of the best tools as well for the poly painting. I mean, it is ultimately a mask, so you can just use it for whatever. But if you just compute that, it's gonna give you a like really nice and accurate ambient occlusion. I don't mess much with the settings, but once you have the mask, I just go to the masking section and I invert that, and just hit it, and then yeah, I can just target those occluded areas, and it just makes it. I don't know. I just love how it looks with a bit of ambient occlusion in the polypaint.
No, it's awesome.
But yeah,
I had
so
no idea that made a mask.
Yeah, it's a mask, so you can just
We learn something new
editing.
every day.
you can actually sharpen it and or blur it and just diffuse that ambient occlusion even more from the masking tools. So yeah, I've been using that quite often. But anyway, what I was gonna show is that even though I have this at a relatively early stage of refinement, if I have that selected, if I go and take the Gizmo 3D, again, this is one of the reasons why I love the new update so much, because without symmetry, I can go ahead and play with the expression of this guy, just placing this in the corner of the mouth. And I can right click, make sure I have maybe focal shift of 82. And I can just go ahead and rotate things like so, push this down. Oh, I have the mask, I think, still. There we go. And I can just do the, maybe.
Very useful, for many, many different things.
Yeah, it's gonna mask this thing.
Yeah, it just comes. There's many ways to use it and think about going at it. Having that local point, I think, makes it a lot more fun to also play around and manipulate and experiment.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. It's the little things, right?
Yeah,
it is.
And
again, sometimes the simplest thing is the best thing.
I mean, for different reasons, like the Bevel Pro is definitely, one of my favorite things for hard surface. But this thing for organic stuff and just like playing around and getting some expression going really quickly, I think it's just awesome.
Yeah.
I think I overdid it.
Together. It's the Grinch, that's for sure.
But yeah.
It's the Grinch. All right, let's keep bouncing around. I'm going to head to Steven now. Mrs. Claus, how's she coming?
Oh, she's doing lovely, dear. She's doing lovely.
Lovely. Are you going to give her a voice?
I feel like if I were to try to do a voice, it'd be more like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Nice.
Oh, she's lovely, dear. She's lovely.
It's a great flick. That's a good one. You got a good impression. That's a good one. Coming together.
Putting together the cookies for Mr. Claus. No, that was terrible. I got worse. I got worse.
I got a little Rosie Perez.
Yeah.
Here's the cookies, Mookie.
Oh man, her voice, Rosie Perez, just really sticks out for me. So you're going to have her standing behind Mr. Santa Claus because she made.
Yeah, I think so. I had ZBrush crash a minute ago, so I'm trying to like get back into getting these things working, but it's all good. It's all good.
I always love when Go
Your
ahead.
next challenge is going to be Rudolph, and then the snowman, and then. What were we saying, Thomas? Sorry.
It's one of my favorite things when our members are like, "Oh, I did this and it crashed. You know, it was an issue." I'm like, just restart it and go, man. Don't get so caught up in stuff. I crash all the time because I ask this program to do things it never wants to do. I'll still never forget when the Dynamesh came out and we were in the beta thing, and you're like, I was like, yeah, I'm having problems with it. It's like doing this and this. I was working like on a 9 million poly model at the time. You're like, it was never designed to be that big, dude. I was like, what are you doing?
It is that big now.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's
I'm just upset that I can't get to that 120, 130 million poly mark because like this one, right? This is at 33 million polys right now. Now I can't divide this again.
Unless you use you can use HD technically.
See, I've never, ever used HD. I don't know why. I think I tried it once and it was a pain in the butt, and I just never went back to it. Pain in the butt for me.
There is a workflow that you can use HD, and then I can show you a workflow that you can actually export it all for print.
Really? Because that was another thing. You really couldn't get it out of HD in some ways.
You can. There's a workflow you can do, so you can actually even print it. I've done some test experiments too, just dropping it into the renderer and have no maps and just straight good to go.
Really? We're going to have to talk about that one.
Sure. There's ways to do it.
Which is purely a division. I just need a little extra.
Wait, did you had when you originally had this as the earring, did it have the heart in it, or did you add
No, not at all. It was just around. I had to make it feel a little bit more jolly, right?
Mm-hmm. Listen, like I said, this would actually be, I would totally make this and get this as like even a Christmas ornament.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's actually my Christmas ornament this year, ironically, is Aliens. It's but mine's the dropship and the APC.
Well, I can send you the model and you can print it off.
There we go. I will
I would love to be part of your Christmas experience.
Hey. It'd be great.
It'd be great. Well, I'm like so not full of tips and tricks today. I don't know. I don't feel very.
You're just sculpting. You're in a sculpting rhythm.
I know. How rare is that? I will say one thing. I don't know. Do you guys use no back and forth much? Because I love it. Because I lay down strokes all the time and you can see I'm always setting my surface rhythms with cross strokes. But if you're trying to get like a really nice clean cross stroke, the no back and forth is heaven on earth.
Yeah, and the stroke palette back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, because with inflation,
you can only go the one direction. Whatever direction you start in, and that's it. You can't go back. You can't go another direction. Yeah.
And you get really nice, and it's just the rhythm of your stroke.
They might not. The viewers might not know where that is. You might want to show it in the stroke.
No, I have no idea where it is. It's been in my palette for. Let's see.
Okay, but let's do this then.
Hold on, I'm holding it. Control.
There you go.
Stroke, no back and forth. So
there's a tear in my eye right now, Thomas. You remembered that.
I do. Well, no, I have to because my members are always like, "Well, where is that?" I'm like, I don't know. It's been in that place for about 3 years. I have no idea where it is. Stroke, no back and forth is. Am I just not seeing it?
Open up modifiers.
Oh.
No, up.
There we go. No back and forth right there.
Yep.
It's really great to help get just really nice linears. What am I getting? No, because it's not turned on. I'm like, why is it not doing what it's supposed to?
What it does, just explain it again, people. So his stroke, he just went like in that direction. Then that's it. That's the only direction he goes. So if he tries to now go like left to right, it's not.
Not.
Right. So he stays in that direction. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you're not getting those little V's as a crossover when you're changing direction. So it lets you make really nice linears that are only going in one direction.
Right. So he's not getting like a crisscross like kind of a thing happening.
Yeah, it stays pretty. It's hard to do when you're doing it slow, I just realized, because I never stroke that slow.
Mm.
You
And
have
I
to use
guess
momentum, man.
I guess for the thing for the someone was asking also, I brought up the printing HD out. I'll have to. That's going to take me probably about at least 30 minutes for it to really walk you through it all to make sure you guys completely grasp it. So I'll have to do it in a stream at another time.
Is it about like cutting the mesh in pieces?
Yep, cut it in pieces.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think Joseph did a video on that on YouTube, like on the Pixologic channel.
I know I've done one. I've shown it in streams before, and you use Decimation Master. You can even use Decimation Master as well with it, and then that's how you can get it out. I'll have to look and see. I don't remember if Drust did one or not. He might have.
I love it. You're using words where I'm just like, oh, I'd never use that. But you will be proud of me. I think you'll actually be very proud of me. I am now, look, it's even in my menu. Do you see this right here? Do you see what that says? Activate dynamic subdivision.
Oh.
I've been a very anti-dynamic subdivision person for a long time.
No, dynamic subdivision is the best.
Yeah, but when you're actually trying to go to print, I can't tell you how many people I've had are like, oh, well, Tomas, this is acting weird. I can't figure it out. And I'm like, do you have dynamic subdivision turned on? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so you didn't sculpt any of that. And they never, I know you can just push apply, but when you have that many things going on, it's really hard to remember that's what you were doing. And it seems to be very hard because I get it all the time. I'm like, just divide it and sculpt it, man. You're killing me. But I've converted. I am now a true believer. I use it much more for, I don't really use it sculpting, but I use it a lot for converting flat planes into geometry. And that's a godsend. It really is awesome because we do a lot of, hold on, let's, give me a plane.
Oh, wait, hold on. I was just switching to Nacho. Let me come back to you. Wait, hold on. Okay, go.
I use a lot the dynamic subdivision for giving thickness to a plane. So it's amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
And for me, talking about jewelry, it's amazing when you have a surface when you need to apply the stones on the surface, and that point you are not still sure which is the thickness that you are going to knit. This is very useful to play with the necessary thickness for the stone settings before apply the real thickness to the piece. When you are sculpting leaves and stuff like this, it's very, very useful.
Let's divide this a little bit more. So like for chain links and stuff, I will often do layouts for hard links flat so you can see your style. And then you're like, okay, well, I need a hinge here, right? So we have a shape like that. And then this is the inner shape. And you can sit here and you get it all sculpted out flat. Nothing's touching each other. You're super happy with everything. And let's grab planer and just create some big air spots here. Now, in the past, trying to convert this to a solid has been a nightmare. You can kind of close holes, but, it's coplanar sometimes, and it's weird. From here, you can literally just go dynamic, add some thickness, turn the smooth back, and you have thickness. So this is a really easy way of taking this. Go to knife. And just now coming in and getting rid of that. Nope, let's try that again. Getting rid of that. Try it again. Getting rid of it. There it is. And so now you have everything in its right space. And these are shallow, but you can fill it in very quickly. But before the knife tools, this was not a viable working option. You had to figure out how to close it. You had all this crap you had to figure out. And now there you go. You have all of your links. And I will show you this because this is a question I get a lot. And it's sort of a jewelry thing. So you have all your links here. Let's get rid of this guy.
But what I normally do there, instead of the knife tool, I was using the mirror and weld option to get rid of the plane.
Yeah, that works as well, for sure. So these are your chain links. Oh, hold on. Let's take this one. Sorry, didn't really do that in preparation for this, but this is actually a good thing. split 2 parts. Okay. Oh, okay. So we're just going to delete one of the. No, we're going to go W, rotate you around. And now, so now that's a viable 2 links, right? You have the male and the female, the links. And people are always like, oh, well, how big, how do you determine the size of your links correctly? Because if you have, you have roughly 3 sizes for commercial bracelets, and then, you've designed these beautiful links, but how do you actually get those to fit the sizes? And if you have let's just append boom, boom. Uh-oh, what did I? No, I didn't have my star selected. I turned my link into a square. Let's just say that's your wrist size. And you've designed these lovely links. We're just going to merge this down. Make it, whoa. And that's the transparency. Come back up here. And let's, come on, Mike. There we go. Oh, they're really thin. Okay. There. And let's just drag these out here real quick, just so I can see. No, we need them to be center. Sort of set them in the top direction, center them, center of the world. So I do forget that the multi doesn't grab it and put it in the center of the world. Sorry, I wasn't quite prepared for this, but it's worth it. All right, we're going to take this and merge this down so these are on the same tool. And you have your lovely bracelet links here, these beautifully well-designed objects. And we have this guy out here. And let's rotate this so it's going in the right direction. And if you go to Array Mesh, it's really nice because you can then adjust your, let's come here, go center, and let's go duplicate, make you smaller. Okay, so now we have 2 different bracelet sizes, split mask. So we have our links. We come up, we array mesh it. Lock position, lock stock. We want it to rotate in the Z-axis 360. And then you pick your numbers, right? And we're here, and we slide this. Of course, it's not centered. Okay. You really want this to be centered before you do this. Why are there 2 of them there? Even better. Here we go. Showing Tomas knows nothing about how to use his computer or ZBrush. When did they mirror? Right there. Okay, so boom, boom. Now we go back down to array. Sorry, guys. Array mesh, repeat. We're going to guess 15. Z amount 360. It's still not centered. Okay, that's really annoying, but whatever. So you drag it out and you get them to where they are centered. And so now you can get your spacing between them right. And you're like, okay, well, I can't get a link this size to be in 17 links that size. So you can scale it up, move it out until it is the right size. This is where I tend to use bend arc as well. and I pre-bend these to slightly be more to the ring or to the to the circle size. But what's really nice is now we have this one. We hide this. So I would go ahead and save this out, duplicate it, and then apply the mesh. And then we go to the second size here. And now you go to center, move it in. And then if you don't want, let's say you want it to be the same width, you just do this until they fit your socket. And now that's a similar design. It fits, but you're like, oh, that's a lot of distortion. So I can do it by scale and then kind of fit it. And this way you can, because this is one of the biggest problems for manufacturing bracelets is sizing. And this allows you to take the same design and either keep the width the size or the scale the same. And most of the time you want to keep the width in a lot of these, especially for the top two sizes, because they can get anemic pretty quick as they go down in size. But it's a really, really easy way to determine. They're like, oh, well, you know, I want the pieces to be bigger. Well, all you do is take one of the links out, right? Go down to 13 or 12. And now you can scale these up to be the right size. So it really gives you a lot of control over how many links and the scales of those links going down through the different sizes. And I know that was a little clustery, if that makes any sense, but that's a really, really useful tool because people have no idea. You design a link and then all of a sudden you realize you're a link and a half in your pattern that you can't include. And this is a really good way at the very, very beginning of your design process to get your link sizing right. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many hours and hours and hours that saved me. Me trying to figure out, you print them and you file a little off and you're like, okay, I need to change the model 3/4. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, I am still here working on the cape or more on the king. So I was using maybe one brush that I haven't seen too many people using this brush, or at least during the streams. Maybe it's not a very popular brush. I don't know if any of you are using it. It's the curve pinch brush.
it's cool. It's a good
it's
one.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a bit, and for me, it's very useful for example, to playing around with the C add or C sub, depending on the case. I have the lazy mouse active to start cleaning the shapes, to start refining very precise ridges or corners on the cloth like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think for this kind of thing this is a very useful brush. Now I'm applying on positive strength. So if I change to C sub, what I normally do is to save my morph target first. I'm gonna start it again. Now I can go from here to here. And now I can blend the transition from the cavity to the flat surface with the morph target, maybe with less strength. I can start finding this. So I have this kind of thing that making it by hand maybe could be very difficult to achieve a very completely clean line, but with the curve pinch becomes, I think, very easy and very clean, I think.
Yeah, I can see even automotive using that, right? Because they always put lines in cars specifically for reflections.
Yeah.
And then having that transition out of the line into the smooth surface. That's a great workflow.
Yeah. And this is the same thing here. One of the brushes we were talking about before is the SK brush. I only use the SK 1, 2, 3, 4 brushes from the SK pack. This is the one. So it works very similar than the Damien standard brush, but I prefer this. Maybe I think it gets even more cleaner lines than the Damien standard brush. I'm a big fan of this brush as well, the SK.
Yeah, me too. It's a standard.
Yeah, it's when you're using to clean or to enhance, for example. Another way that I do is to the transpose line. Maybe this is going to be a very old trick. Maybe with the transpose line, what I do is you drag your line, press the Control key, and press this white dot, and you get it completely horizontal.
Yeah.
So now you can apply. Then let's apply a positive when you are making clouds like this. So to start, and now
Do
you can.
use? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Tell me. Just the last.
I was going to say, do you use the SK Trim Polish brush? Because you use H Polish. And for the
I
stuff
know.
that-
Yeah, I only use this one, SK Polish. I never use the SK Trim.
well, it's called SK Trim Polish, but it's really a polishing tool. It's not really. But I don't know if you've ever used it, but it's
No.
like one of the only finishing tools I use, because you know how a lot of your polishing tools will roll over your sharp edges, right? They'll aggress the edges. It almost seems like it has a sharpening to it. So when you come up to an edge, it's polishing, but it like respects that sharp edge. So it really gives you a lot of control over your corners. Not to steal. Can you flip over here real quick? I'll just show you this real fast, because
I think
for what you're doing, I can't. This is just a magic brush for you.
Yeah, the brush that I use for that is the SK Polish or the default H Polish brush.
Yeah, if you hold the Control key on the H polish, you can also respect some of those edges a bit.
Yeah, I have H polishes in my menu for sure. It's just SK Polish just does such a natural job of not aggressing those corners. Here, look at how rough this. Let's go back here.
Go ahead. We're on your screen. So you can show it.
Okay, I'm sorry. So you can see I have these lumps and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing. I'm just stroking, right? Boom, and then in here. Boom. But see how it doesn't roll over the edge? It keeps those corners sharp. And
Yeah, keep
it's
the
just a
planes.
really fast polish. I mean, it for some reason, it just doesn't roll over the edges. It just keeps those edges nice and sharp.
You might,
And-
have, you might have preserve edge turned up all the way.
Could
I
be.
bet that's it.
In the brush
'Cause-
palette, there's an actual slider. So H Polish is using a slider to control
Oh.
the sharpness on those edges and how to maintain them. So there's a slider in the brush palette. He might have that turned up all the way.
Yeah, because it's awesome. I mean, it's really nice for like not spending any time at all, just trying to get your edges crisp, because it very rarely will roll over an edge.
But maybe it comes with the pack number 2, because I think that I have the very old one, the pack number 1, but I don't have any SK Trim.
Yeah, SK Trim Polish. It's a clay brush. I think you'd like it because it's just really fast. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
You just bat, and it's going.
How did that
Looks
go,
very
Thomas?
nice. Yes, I agree.
So the preserve edge slider, just so people they're aware of, it's in the brush samples. There's a slider called preserve edge. H Polish is actually using that, and in fact, it's only set to like 31. So if you even guys crank that up, you'll keep those sharp edges even more with even the H Polish brush.
Oh, cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that one.
Nope.
I was like,
Fun
but
fact, that's what we're throwing around here. There was somebody asking about, hold on, Ragnar, you were asking something specific about UI. Just to clarify, because people are trying to help you out in the chat. Are you asking about literally just moving like the menus around, like the full menus and everything above inside of ZBrush? You can't do that. But I see a lot of people are saying you can just create your own menus, create your own custom UIs and everything. So I'm not sure if that's what you were asking. I figured I'll ask you in voice because people are trying to help you in the chat. And I'll just continue moving along. So we'll jump back to Nacho. Show where he's at.
Yeah. Yes, as we were talking about the H Polish brushes, another feature that I like to use the H Polish with invert the strength instead of the Z add that you are able to start making planes. I like to use with the Alt key to start making this kind of positive planes. It's very useful for add volume, but with kind of hard surface looking finishing. So it's a very fast way to start creating your planes or blocking your main forms like this. just with the default H polish brush with the Alt key. And you're going to be able to create this kind of things very easily.
Yeah, it's a great one.
With this kind of course, if you are looking for more organic finishing, you can apply the shape and then you can start polishing. Another trick another brushes that I use a lot is a combination of the smooth peak and the smooth valley. I never use the default smooth brush. I always make a mix between both of them. For example, to start making things like this with the H, in this case, smooth valleys, you can start getting this kind of finishings like this very fast, because you are preserving the highest points of the mesh. So it's very easy to achieve this kind of shapes, which maybe doing this by hand could be difficult, because you need to apply the volume and start polishing and start refining the form with the combination of the H polish and in this case smooth valleys. You can apply this kind of things very easy. Now you can apply the
that's a
smooth
great
peaks.
way of using those smoothing brushes.
Yeah. This is what I made all of this stuff on the face with the H, with the smooth valleys and the smooth peaks to start getting soft. For example, here I have a small cavity here. Maybe if I change the material, we can see it better. You can see here, this is the cavity is here.
Yep.
I can, with the smooth valleys, you can start balancing. Maybe with the to start balancing or applying tension to the surface till getting a completely flat surface between two lines like this. Now you can refine the H with the pinch brush, and then you will get a very clean surface. This is I also use a combination of both, always playing with the smooth peaks and the smooth valleys. I think that's very useful to avoid this kind of artifacts on the surface, that the surfaces don't look smooth or clean. You can correct the mistakes with a combination of a smooth peaks or a smooth valley, depending on, for example, if you have here a kind of things like this you don't like. Instead of start smoothing this part with the smooth valleys, you can apply here, and then you will get a completely flat surface because you are removing the cavities, but you are not touching the edges. This is a very useful way to achieve clean surfaces. Yes.
Yeah, it's coming together nicely. It's going to be a pretty piece. It's going to be very nice.
I'm going to start working on this. Another brush that I like to use is the SK cloth. I prefer to use the Alpha 39 instead of the default Alpha, so it's very useful to start finding the...
Oh, that's nice. It's crisper. I like that.
Yeah. Very easy to start blocking the shapes of the...
Yeah, that's a great brush. I love that brush.
Yeah, like this. With the positive and negative, now you can start working with this.
The
Very
beauty
fast.
of adding gravity to a brush. That's
And this
amazing.
brush,
That's a good one.
I don't know if this brush has any gravity applied. I don't know.
The SK cloth does, yeah. It's reversed gravity, actually. It's pointing up. And that's what kind of gives it that sort of weird sharpness it's interesting.
But this is a brush that I use a lot for sculpting clouds. And again, with the move brush, with the acute curve, start breaking the regular line and start applying tension and gravity to the cloth. I think this feature is great for when you are sculpting this kind of
Acute curve's awesome.
cloth fold. This is a feature that I use a lot, the acute curve option.
Yeah. Looking good. I'm gonna take the screen real quick and answer the question that is going through the chat. So someone, it sounds like you were asking about navigating. Move. There's a move button right here. So you can use a button to move your model around if you want to, if that's what you were looking for. So you can get it right there. But as you see, some people, I think it was Nacho, you can hold the space bar. And it's also right there. Like you have in here, sorry, wrong one, this one. You can move here. Or if you do tap a right click by default, you can pull that up as well. So if you were looking for that navigational wise, obviously there's 4 different ways to navigate in ZBrush now. So I'm a right click
Space mouse.
I'm a right click guy. So you use the space mouse now. You can use the normal, and then there's even a gestural navigation that's turned off by default. But there is other ways. I don't know if that's what you were looking for, so I wanted to show that. So we'll bounce through. Let's go to Michael and see how Michael's doing. You're up, Michael. What do you got?
Your laugh just fills me with joy. I giggle quite a bit.
Oh, I got a lot more where that came from. So.
Oh boy.
So can we just start a go-to meeting where you just sit and laugh while I work? It would make my day so much better. It would be great.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! That would be.
You would replace my books on tape. I think it would be really quite psychologically beneficial to my life.
That's funny.
So you're using, did you micropoly? Did you have a micropoly first, and you're using a combination of micropoly and surface noise?
Yeah, I toyed with the idea. So I do have a micro. Is it in there? Yeah. So I do have a micropoly version. So I basically took this guy and I split him apart and I zero meshed him, and then I put on, if you guys don't know where it is, underneath geometry, dynamic subdiv. You can. I did a really big fat micropoly, this woven 05 down here. I didn't really find one because he's actually got a fair bit of geometry on him, but. Yeah, so there's the micropoly version. So this is that instance on every face type of thing. So you can toggle that on and off. So every face on here is going to inherit this geometry, which you can swap out with anything, obviously. But which I could do. I'm trying to think, like if I wanted to do like an IMAX shot where I had the bugs underneath him and I wanted this to be like real cloth, I might do that. But then I chickened out and I just went back to I UV'd this guy. So if I go down here and I do a UV map, morph UV, you can see he's just split in half, UV'd, and I just put on some surface noise on here. So we have underneath the surface noise, toggle that on and off. I think in this, I either took this from Pablo's cloth tutorial or it's on ZBrush's Pixologic site, that alpha.
More plugs for Pablo. So anybody who hasn't seen it, go check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a whole thing.
Pablo's clay knife tool is awesome. That's a great tool. I use it all the time. His clay tools are rad.
Cheers, man. There's actually an update of that brush, but it's part of the Geiger pack. It's a little bit sharper and it just kind of like pinches the surface a bit more. I've been using that over the knife that comes with the clay pack now.
So the knife and the Gigapack? I will, without a question.
Yeah, it's called the cutter. I don't have it here because I don't have those in here, but it's called the cutter, the Geiger cutter. And that's how I do those weird stuff.
Yeah, no, I would definitely grab it. I feel so envious and really slacking because everyone has like really great brush and texture brushes. And I know that I have to make my own because I use a lot of them and it's silly for me not to do it. And I haven't been able to catch up with everything to where I feel like I have enough time to spend 2 days, 3 days on doing texture packs and stuff. It would save me weeks of work, but I'm a slacker when it comes, sadly.
You know what I do? I actually just start working on a project, and that's what the brush packs that I have, they're very specific to, it's either clay or Geiger things. I started working on a project and I think, you know what, I need to make my own brush for something. And I start building them. And then, if I have a few that I think are relevant, I'll just clean them up a little bit and fix them. And and share them. But that's how I build my brushes.
All I know is thank God you guys are sharing, because I've been using Sakake's brushes forever. I mean, I can't even remember where I found them. And
Silver Center, probably.
yeah, it had to be. Yeah, that's right. He did that really nice post on the anime girls that are the battleships.
Right.
Yeah.
And he shared a lot of it then. You're right. That's exactly where I found them. And I've been using them forever. The concept of me trying to learn how to make brushes just fills me with stress. I'm like, oh my God, can't I just sculpt? Leave me alone, guys.
You can take the standard brush and turn off the ZAD and turn on RGB and say that's a new brush. You just made your own brush. That's it.
Yeah, you just mess with a few settings, man. Save the brush.
Eric, you make that sound very casual, but you have seen me mess with a few settings and what happens. So
I do like the multi-alpha, multi-texture. That's one of my favorite
awesome
features. I started making some really wacky, like balloon animal brushes with those.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You have any to share?
Let me see. Let me save this real quick, and I'll load it up, and I'll let you know when I have it.
you didn't tell me balloon animals was your next jewelry line.
Yeah. Michael
Who's
was
the,
adding,
who's the
fireworks.
artist? Who's the artist that does a giant balloon animal? stuff?
Jeff Koons.
Yeah, they're in the Broad. Cool stuff.
So you have your Jeff Koons brush?
Jeff Koons brush.
Nice.
Of course, now I got to figure out where I put it.
Well, we'll see. I'll switch to Pablo so people
Yeah.
can see where his Grinch is at while you're looking for them.
I know it saved it.
Yeah, I think I'm just rushing this process a bit because I think I'm gonna go now. So let me just show you.
Oh joy!
Oh joy!
Oh joy!
I'm just gonna render that out. So yeah, I just used the format for creating that sort of like flick here from the speech bubble. So yeah, I've been using that gizmo deformer for everything now. And for the fiber mesh, I think actually works really well. I haven't tested it properly, but I just did a quick fiber mesh to add a bit of details since I didn't have too much time to sculpt, and it's always good to have there. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there for today, guys. So I gotta go, but oh joy, that's the green for the stream today.
Lovely.
Good. It's a good
You know,
Grinch.
I actually,
Sorry, say that again?
there we go.
I think I
Good
probably
Grinch.
need to head out too. Gotta call it a meeting.
Yeah, well, we're
Yeah,
going to
so,
be ending actually in a little bit. So, like, 10 minutes.
No.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. I just gotta rush now, but yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Always a joy.
And let's do that again sometime soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Pablo.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Adios, Pablo.
Bye, Pablo.
Bye.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Ciao.
I'm just gonna recreate the brush because I can't.
Oh, you're going to recreate them?
Yeah, it's one of these examples of like just a really simple, cool thing that makes a really neat brush. So I'm a huge fan of TWSK cloth as well, which is a brush that these guys have been talking about from Turn Off Sculptures, which is this one right here because it makes such an elegant line and it's so nicely sensitive to the pressure. So really all I did was screw around one day. I went into brush. We're going to go to alpha and texture, right? Alpha and texture. And I simply did this. I added, I think it was like this, these two alphas. And then depending on the pressure sensitivity, you can get like two strokes or like a division in the stroke. So what I'd probably do is let's reverse this because I like doing it. So this alpha here, and then maybe like a really narrow one right here. So that way, as I'm drawing, as I increase the pressure, you get kind of like a division in there, which is kind of, I guess it's more like a weird wiener brush or paramecium or something like that. And then it's just a matter of going in here and playing with the alpha transition. So this graph says that at this amount of pressure, we're going to get this alpha. This amount of pressure, we're going to get this, and it kind of blends them in between. So by playing with the curve, you can get some interesting effects and then varying the pressure while you draw. Because you can see it's also, it's in combination with Z intensity. So if I wanted more of the narrow brush, and you can see you can get that kind of thing. And then you can go in here and let me see, I want under tablet pressure, turn off use global settings, and then I can go in here, maybe play the size. If I don't want the, or actually what I want is Z intensity. So if I want the Z intensity to be consistent, I can play with this. So that way it's not necessarily, you know, when I'm brushing lightly, I'm still getting the same intensity as when I'm pressing down hard, but I am also getting that transition in case you don't want this kind of like ramping up and down on the side. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, just as simple as that. You can, you know, a couple of settings here and there, and you get it's a world of balloon animal fun.
It is balloon. It is it's a blue animal.
Kind of. It's got I don't know. It's starting to remind me more of microbiology, which is useful. You know?
It's where it always goes. Always goes.
How's your piece coming along?
Let's see.
Did you switch?
I keep
Different
putting the
project?
brush menu there where I'm used to my tool menu being. Yeah, so in this one, I'm playing a lot with those curve brushes with the snap setting. Because I mean, I like to improvise a lot. So this is really an improvisational piece. If it doesn't work out, I don't really care because it's fun. So I have this, I'm using the multi-alpha, the curve.
What are you looking for? Curve multi-tube?
Curve alpha is plural.
Oh, okay.
Just because it allows you to, you know, draw on and keep adding, you know, strokes while you're working. And since I have snap on, I kind of drawing this away from the model and then just kind of colliding it into the surface to kind of see what kind of shapes I can come up for these vines. And then, of course, you know, while you're working, if I decide these are too thick, I can just lower my draw size, adjust the curve, and you can see it's adjusting the thickness of that branch now. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Hey, did you try to use the? Maybe I can give you a
You want
trick
to see?
tip
Hold on. Let
with
me,
the serum
okay.
method guides in combination with,
Go ahead, Nacho.
for example, if let's grab the dog again. Maybe it could
That
be
dog.
useful for this. Here's the dog. So this brush that the idea is this brush is completely different, but you can start applying painting curves whatever you want, as many as you want, like this. So here you are only worried about to paint the curves, and then you can apply any of the curve brushes to apply all of the curves at the same time.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
So
I like
now
to
you
do
can
kind of like one at a time because at that point it starts to get like, now I've got way too many things to move around and nudge and stuff.
Yeah, but
Don't
now
get
with the
cluttered.
with the move topological brush, you can start adjusting the. Let's get rid of the curve first. Maybe here, delete. Now with the move topological brush, you can start put the branch whenever you want, without working with the curves.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
so you
with
use
this
geometric
method,
guides first to draw your curves. And then
yeah,
you switch to
this
the other.
method you can apply as many curves as necessary at once.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, this is very useful for hair when you are applying the strands of hair to apply all the strands together with one click. Now you're gonna start or applying the smooth rough with the topological feature. You're gonna start working with this shapes, only affecting the part of the mesh you are touching.
Yeah,
This
and the
could
move
be-
that topology option, which is great that Nacho's showing this. It's not just for that move topology brush. You can put it on any brush. It's just a mode
Yeah.
that you can turn on in your brush menu. So in the brush auto masking is where you can find that button, and you can even use your brush size to control how far down the topology it can go as well, because there's sliders that correlate with that button actually.
Yeah. This now is applied with to the smooth brush, so you're
Yeah.
gonna start stretching only the tips with each individually.
Yeah, that's a nice workflow. It's an easy way to just quickly throw some curve on there and then get to a point that quick is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Nice tip. Steven, how are you coming along with Miss Claus? She's looking good.
I'm starting to wonder if I'll even get a chance to pose her or anything. I've got her to a point where she, you know, she feels jolly, she feels happy. I like the shapes, how they're looking. I think I'm just dilly-dallying with it too much now. And so it's one of those things that, you know, you play and you have fun with it, and if something works, it
Well, and you can finesse it later when you're laughing for me. You know, you can. That'll be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just trying to go through and kind of add a little bit of variation to this underskirt piece. Everything, all the cloth right now has the dynamic thickness to it, so it makes it just really easy to get just a preview.
Yeah, so you're using the dynamic thickness to just see how thick you really do want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find myself using that a lot too, to do what kind of stuff you're doing.
I love dynamic thickness. It's so good.
It is awesome.
Nice, it's coming together. I'm just going to keep bouncing around because we're almost done here. So I want to make sure we see where everyone's at, especially for where you guys all started. So we're looking at Thomas's screen now with the alien Christmas ornament.
Right.
Ornament or earring? Is this going to be? Would this be an earring?
This is an ornament. No, this is an ornament. That would hurt really, really, really bad to try to get that ball to be the place where it hangs in your ear. I guess you could hang it, but if it that direction, maybe you could feasibly make the split. Yeah, no, this is your Christmas ornament. This is my Christmas present to you.
Thank you. I'm sure my wife will just be pleased.
It's alien. I mean, what? There aren't any things you shouldn't have on a Christmas ornament.
No.
Much.
I'd say it's fun. Like, we live in this world, right, where we all can make stuff and then print it out. It's fun to be able to make your own ornaments. It's always I do it every year now. This has become a thing I do with my daughter every year.
I like it. Yeah. Isn't it wonderful that you can really have? I can only imagine that having a child and having ZBrush and a printer makes, oh, you want one of those? Well, here, look, we can do it right here. You know, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, trust me. She's already drawn out things for me and go, this is what I want this year. Drawing on a piece of paper and handing it to me. I'm like, okay.
Imagine it makes like science projects and school projects much more entertaining.
Yeah.
Well, this is an elephant esophagus. Look, you can look into it. You blow through it. It makes this noise.
Let's go. It's nice coming together. Oh, you're Michael's starting to render. Doing a little keyshotting.
Yeah, I figured I'd while I was in ZBrush, I went through and I take the seam where I split them in half and just use that to frame the curve and go ahead and just put on some stitches and then some. You guys probably saw this part, the whole grab some fiber mesh. You could use nano mesh and scatter, but I think fiber mesh will work just for that burlappy, itchy kind of feel. And then I'm going to say I do this, but in reality, I never do this, but I probably should do it more, is do a quick, go into my render and do a quick, throw into your environment and then drop it down and, do an early poly paint because it's important, throw in your light, edit, add a light spotlight just to see if, everything's working and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's kind of also what the point of the bridge is to do is, you're going to have that on another monitor, ZBrush on another monitor, and going back and forth workfloll.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of the idea of what we were doing with the bridge.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I like I said, I should do this more. And I'll lie and say, I do this all the time is because I'm a real professional. But in reality, I sit in ZBrush and I have my clay material on there, and then I just do that forever, and then I'm not pleasantly surprised when things don't work out perfectly, but one day I'll learn.
Nah.
Very nice. All right.
Maybe I just have no hope for me learning, but
What, for rendering?
oh my God, I'm a mess. And now with all this NFT garbage and people wanting me to do things and this and that, it's like, oh my God, I actually have to learn how to render gemstones well. And that's just, it's so insanely painful. I can't. Yeah. It hurts. It's just, it's painful.
Well, it's hard because it's like, you know, with gemstones, you get like the high contrast sparkle and everything, and going through, and the refraction and the reflection and everything kind of contrasting and making it really difficult to look at from that standpoint.
Yeah, and just trying to get it where you're, you know, so a lot of the rendering, like if you're not actually creating settings or seats for the stones, you know, there's that interaction, and you have to push the button. Don't react to interactions, but transparencies do. There's no way to get around it. You know, you put your gemstone material on it, and then everything's just black, and you're just like, it's like, okay, and you do your seats, and then everything's still black. So you change your transparency depth, and you kind of get it. But if you're doing that, you're really removing the saturation of the color. Blah, blah, blah. It was just like, oh my God, just render the gemstones separately and smile and composite it all together in Photoshop is really the answer. But that hurts me too.
Yeah, it feels less authentic sometimes.
I just, done is beautiful. It's never done. That's my problem. And Eric just laughs at me. He's just like, what are you doing? Trying here, man. He pumps out. All I can say, if any of you ever start a business where it's about making videos and you have Eric doing the same thing with you, you're going to look like a fool. This man produces so many videos so fast. Producing a video is like birthing like a 20-pound baby for me. I mean, it's agonizing. And then Eric's just like, okay, yeah, you know, in our little admin chat thing, he's like, yeah, I got another 7 videos done. What do you want? I'm just like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's just like, it's painful. And then it renders well. It's like, what's going on with the world?
Well, yeah. Well, visual effects makes you have to do that, so you have no choice.
That's the most beautiful thing in the world, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's great, but
yeah, we have a render crash the night before something is due, then it's less beautiful.
yeah,
The crying starts, screaming.
Nacho, you're starting to render too, huh? You're using some filtering.
Yeah, I like to play with the filters. I love how the filter works because the start and then afterward compensate it on Photoshop. But I love to be playing with the filters. This is one feature that I enjoy every time I do anything. So I try to put some filters on and play to see how it looks like. So. But you have a lot of options. Normally, it's hard to achieve what you are looking for because you need to play with many different ones. But you can get amazing results. And most of them, at least for my experience, for accident, I get a very, very good results. Not knowing too much what I'm doing, but just playing around with the settings and trying to understand what they do. So I try to achieve as best as I can, but most of the time I get to a good result by accident.
Sometimes that's how you stumble. What I think also is what rendering is. Sometimes you're playing with the slider, hitting render. What did it do? And then you're seeing what it does, right? But that's why I like about the filters is they're real time. So as you're playing, you're seeing it happen to you.
You can turn one on, turn it off, and be seeing in real time what is happening. So I don't like it, or I like it. This is very. I love it to play with the filters.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. We're coming close to the end here. But I appreciate you guys all taking time to spend with us today. Today's Tuesday. I'm so off with the weekdays now. I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Hey, at least you didn't start your stream on the wrong day.
Hey, there you go. It happens.
Oh, man. And I was just so incredulous. I'm like, are you doing this on a different day? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? I've been on Monday at 8 for like 4 years. They're like, dude, it's Sunday. I'm like, oh.
It happens. What were you saying, Steven?
I got to go ahead and bounce. I've got a meeting in about 15 minutes.
Yep.
So.
We're going to be ending the stream right now, actually. So I just wanted to thank you all again for taking the time to come spend with me on a Tuesday for a couple hours and with the community. Appreciate that. I know that they were having fun and watching you guys all work on that stuff and sharing a lot of tips and tricks and suggestions. So thank you.
I look forward to doing it again.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, man. Appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tons of fun.
So on behalf of Steven, Thomas, Nacho, Michael, Eric, and Pablo, who is here, I'm Paul Gay with Pixologic. You've been watching another multi-stream. Keep an eye on our calendar. There is another one coming down the pipe for us in next month in December. So by all means, please keep an eye on our schedule. We have some more coming down for streams. It's been a lot of fun. And everyone have a great December.
Have a great one.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.